Hello everyone, my name is Kyle. I am a UNDP student ambassador and also taking part in the GYBN Youth Diplomacy Development course. And today I'll be reviewing the Convention on Biological Diversity, also known as the CBD, and how it applies to Belize. The Convention on Biological Diversity is an international environmental treaty that was open for signature way back in 1992 at the Earth Summit in Rio de Janeiro and entered into force in 1993. Its three main goals are the conservation for biological diversity, the sustainable use of biodiversity, and the fair and equitable sharing of benefits from genetic resources. This treaty is extremely important for Belize because our country depends heavily on nature. Belize is home to the largest unbroken barrier reef in the Western Hemisphere, rich in tropical forests, wetlands, mangroves, rivers, and so many important species. These ecosystems support tourism, fisheries, food security, climate resilience, culture, community livelihoods, and I could go on and on. When biodiversity is lost, it's not only an environmental issue, it also affects our economy, health, and way of life. Belize's main national tool for implementing the CBD is the National Biodiversity Strategy and Action Plan. Through this plan, Belize has committed to protecting ecosystems, reducing threats to species, promoting sustainable resource use, improving protected area management, and strengthening public awareness and participation. Belize is also working to align its biodiversity goals with the Kunming Montreal Global Biodiversity Framework, which calls on countries to halt and reverse biodiversity loss by 2030. However, there are still challenges. Many Caribbean countries, including Belize, face limited funding, weak enforcement, climate change impacts, pollution, habitat destruction, overfishing, and conflicts between development and conservation. Sometimes strong policies exist on paper, but implementation is slow because agencies may lack staff, resources, data, or coordination. To improve the execution of these agreements, I would recommend several amendments or strong implementation measures. First, Caribbean governments should make biodiversity targets legally binding at the national level, not just voluntary commitments. Second, there should be stronger monitoring and public reporting so citizens can see whether targets are actually being met. Third, more funding should go directly to enforcement, protected area management, research, and community-led conservation. Fourth, young people, indigenous groups, fishers, farmers, and coastal communities should be included in decision-making because they are directly affected by environmental policies. I would also recommend the environmental impact assessments be strengthened so that development projects do not undermine biodiversity commitments. And finally, Caribbean countries should cooperate more as a region because many of our ecosystems, species, and climate threats are shared. So in conclusion, the Convention on Biological Diversity is important because it gives Belize and the Caribbean a global framework for protecting nature. But signing an agreement is not enough. For these treaties to work, governments must turn commitments into action through funding, enforcement, community participation, and accountability. Protecting biodiversity means protecting our future.